For thousands of years, humans lived side by side. No locked bedrooms, no soundproof apartments, no private messages, no passwords. And yet somehow, people still hid things. Affairs, secrets, power, fear. Because long before walls existed, humans mastered something far more dangerous, the illusion of privacy. Imagine sleeping in a world where everyone could hear you breathe, entire families packed into tiny huts, villages built shoulder to shoulder, every cough, every whisper, every movement observed. There was nowhere to disappear, and that changed the human mind forever. Today, privacy feels physical, a locked door, a bathroom stall, a phone screen. But ancient humans didn't have those luxuries, so they invented something else: behavior, rituals, silence, social blind spots, invisible walls. And once you notice them, you realize we still live by them today. Anthropologists found something strange when studying early tribal societies. People often acted as if they couldn't see obvious things: a husband returning late at night, a hidden exchange of food, a quiet affair happening right in front of everyone. The tribe knew, but they pretended not to know. Not because they were stupid, because acknowledging it would destroy the group. That's the terrifying part. Privacy was never about hiding information. It was about controlling attention. And ancient humans became masters at it. In some hunter-gatherer societies, people avoided direct eye contact during emotional moments, not out of weakness, out of respect. If someone was grieving, others acted distracted. If a couple argued, people suddenly became busy. They created emotional distance without physical distance. A social agreement. I won't expose your vulnerability if you don't expose mine. But this system had a dark side, because once humans learned how to not see things, manipulation became possible, and some people got very good at it, especially leaders. In ancient communities, power wasn't just about strength. It was about controlling what people were willing to ignore. A respected elder could break rules others couldn't. A shaman could isolate people under the excuse of ritual. A chief could hide violence behind tradition. Everyone saw it. Nobody spoke, because survival depended on the illusion staying intact. That's when things became disturbing. Archaeologists discovered that many ancient homes were designed in bizarre ways, not for comfort, for controlled visibility. Some early settlements had entrances facing away from communal spaces. Others forced visitors through narrow passages before entering. At first, researchers thought this was random. It wasn't. These structures controlled what others could accidentally witness. Even in crowded environments, humans were engineering selective blindness. Think about that. Before modern architecture, before locks, before doors as we know them, humans were already obsessed with managing exposure. Not privacy itself, exposure. Because exposure meant danger. In small tribes, reputation was survival. One rumor could destroy your chances of mating. One accusation could exile you. One embarrassing moment could follow you forever. There was no starting over. No moving cities, no deleting accounts. Your identity lived in other people's memories, forever. So ancient humans developed behaviors that sound strangely familiar today, speaking quietly in groups, using coded language, leaving conversations unfinished when others approached. Even gossip had rules, and those rules reveal something chilling about human nature. In many ancient cultures, gossip wasn't considered evil. It was considered social surveillance, a weapon used to enforce behavior. People feared public exposure more than physical punishment, because shame could kill you socially long before anything killed you physically. And once fear enters a society, privacy becomes currency. The less others knew about your weaknesses, the safer you were. But then humans discovered a loophole. You didn't actually need secrecy. You just needed plausible deniability. That changed everything. In ancient Rome, wealthy elites held massive dinner parties filled with politics, betrayal, and hidden alliances. Nothing was technically secret. Servants overheard everything. Guests spread rumors constantly, yet nobody could openly accuse anyone without proof. So conversations became layered, double meanings, indirect threats, hidden messages, inside jokes. An entire culture built on strategic ambiguity. Say enough, without saying too much. Sound familiar? Because modern humans still do this every day. Social media, corporate meetings, friend groups. The technology changed. The psychology didn't. But ancient humans went even further. Some cultures developed physical rituals specifically designed to create temporary privacy. And they were shockingly clever. Certain tribes used loud communal dances before private discussions, not for celebration, for audio cover. Others timed sensitive conversations during storms or near rivers. Nature became camouflage. Even fire played a role. Researchers noticed that nighttime conversations around crackling flames became more intimate. The sound masked speech patterns. The darkness hid facial expressions. For the first time, humans could partially disappear psychologically, and once they tasted that feeling, they never let it go. That's why privacy became deeply emotional, not just practical, because being unseen meant something powerful. Freedom. Freedom to think strange thoughts. Freedom to break social expectations. Freedom to become someone different for a moment, without constant judgment. But there was a problem. Humans are terrible at handling invisible freedom. The more private people became psychologically, the more deceptive they became socially. And ancient societies noticed. Some tribes intentionally eliminated privacy to maintain trust. Entire communities slept together, raised children together, shared resources openly. Nothing hidden, at least in theory. But complete transparency created another nightmare: paranoia. When humans can never mentally escape each other, small tensions become unbearable. Every glance matters. Every silence feels loaded. People begin performing constantly, and performance slowly replaces authenticity. That's the hidden paradox of ancient privacy. Humans didn't create it because they hated people. They created it because the human brain breaks without escape. Even tiny amounts of psychological space mattered. A walk alone, a moment at the river, collecting firewood slightly farther from camp. Those moments weren't chores. They were relief. And some people abused that relief. Secret relationships formed. Plots emerged. Violence hid beneath isolation. Because privacy protects innocence, but it also protects darkness. That duality haunted every civilization. In ancient Japan, architecture reflected this perfectly. Paper walls barely blocked sound. Homes were shared spaces. Yet social etiquette became incredibly refined. People learned how to ignore what they overheard. Again, selective blindness. Not accidental, intentional. Civilization itself depended on it. And then came one of the strangest inventions in human history: personal identity. Not identity as we understand it now, but the idea that a person could have an inner self separate from public life. That concept exploded once humans developed psychological privacy. Ancient philosophers began writing about hidden thoughts. Religious traditions focused on secret sins. Confession rituals appeared across cultures. Suddenly, the most dangerous place wasn't outside society. It was inside your own mind. That terrified people, because if thoughts could be hidden, anyone could be lying. Nobody expected what happened next. As civilizations grew larger, humans became surrounded by strangers instead of family. And ironically, that made privacy easier. In small tribes, everyone knew your history. In cities, anonymity emerged. You could disappear into crowds. For the first time in history, humans experienced a completely new feeling: being unknown. And it changed civilization forever. Crime evolved, romance evolved, religion evolved, even morality changed, because people behave differently when nobody's watching. Ancient rulers understood this immediately. That's why surveillance became central to power. Not modern surveillance, human surveillance. Informants, public confessions, neighborhood watchers, religious observers. Empires realized something terrifying: control people's sense of visibility, and you control behavior. The ancient world became obsessed with balancing two impossible needs. Humans needed privacy to stay sane, but too much privacy threatened social order. That conflict never disappeared. It only evolved. And the strangest part? Modern humans still use ancient survival techniques without realizing it. Think about elevators. Everyone stares forward. Nobody acknowledges each other. That's artificial privacy. Think about headphones in public. A signal that says, "Do not enter my mental space." Think about texting someone while sitting beside another person. Humans are still building invisible walls, just digitally now. But ancient humans may have understood something we forgot. Privacy isn't just protection, it's performance. People carefully choose what version of themselves others can access, and they always have. Even prehistoric humans likely managed impressions constantly, acting brave when afraid, hiding jealousy, concealing weakness, because social survival demanded it. But over time, something darker happened. Humans became so good at performing, they started hiding from themselves too. Ancient myths are filled with disguised gods, hidden identities, secret names. That wasn't random storytelling. It reflected a deep human fear. The fear that nobody truly knows anyone. Not even the people closest to them. And maybe that fear was born long before civilization. Back when humans first realized they could stand in a crowded campfire circle, completely exposed, and still hide what they were really thinking. That was the beginning of psychological privacy. The first invisible wall. No bricks, no locks, no doors. Just silence. And silence turned out to be stronger than stone. Because once humans learned how to hide parts of themselves, civilization could never go back. Every kingdom, every religion, every relationship would now depend on a fragile agreement. I will pretend not to see everything about you if you do the same for me. That agreement built societies. It also destroyed them. Wars started because of hidden motives. Families collapsed over concealed truths. Empires rotted from secret corruption, all protected by the oldest technology humans ever invented, selective blindness. And maybe that's why modern privacy feels so complicated, because deep down, we know walls were never the real protection. Not really. The real protection was always psychological. Other people choosing not to look too closely. But now, we live in a world where everything is recorded, everything is shared, everything is exposed. And for the first time in human history, the ancient illusion is collapsing. No tribe could track every conversation. No ancient ruler could monitor every thought. No village could permanently archive every mistake. But today, nothing disappears. Which means humans are facing a problem our ancestors never had to solve. What happens when invisible walls stop working? Because humans were never designed to live fully exposed. Not emotionally, not socially, not psychologically. And maybe that's the real reason modern life feels exhausting. We lost the ancient art of pretending not to see. Now everyone watches, everyone documents, everyone judges, constantly. The illusion is dying. And without it, we may discover something terrifying about ourselves. Maybe privacy was never a luxury. Maybe it was the thin psychological layer holding civilization together. And if that layer disappears, what disappears with it?